Happy Monday, Palmer Trinity. This is Mr. Roberts broadcasting to you now in April. And we have a fantastic week ahead of us. We actually began today. We had a very, very special presentation, a very special chapel and convocation. We gathered the entire school in the gym and we celebrated and kicked off National Poetry Month by honoring some of our own students and welcoming 3 outstanding poets, Caridad Moro-Gronlier, Nicole Tallman, and Richard Blanco. Many of you may have heard of Mr. Blanco. He was selected by President Obama as the 5th presidential inaugural poet in U.S. history, and just recently he was appointed the first ever poet laureate of Miami-Dade County. And Mr. Blanco will share for you now one of his original works.
Mother country, madre patria. To love a country as if we've lost one. 1968, my mother leaves Cuba for America. A scene I imagine as if standing in her place. 1 foot inside a plane destined for a country she knew only as a name, a color on a map, or glossy photos from drugstore magazines. Her other foot anchored to the platform of her patria, her hand clutched around 1 suitcase, taking only what she needs most. Hand-colored photographs of her family, her wedding veil, the doorknob of her house, a jar of dirt from her backyard, goodbye letters she won't open for years. The sorrowful drone of engines, 1 last deep breath of familiar air she'll take with her. 1 last glimpse at all she'd ever known. The palm trees wave goodbye as she steps onto the plane. The mountains shrink from her eyes as she lifts off into another life to love a country, as if we've lost one. I hear her, once upon a time, reading picture books over my shoulder at bedtime, both of us learning English, sounding out words as strange as the talking animals and fair-haired princes in their pages. I taste her first attempts at macaroni and cheese, but with chorizo and peppers, and her shame over Thanksgiving turkeys always dry, but countered by her perfect pork pernil and garlic yuca. I smell the rain of those mornings, huddled as one under 1 umbrella, waiting for the bus to her 10-hour days at the cash register. And at night, the zzz, zzz of her sewing her own blouses and quinceanera dresses for her grown nieces still in Cuba, guessing at their sizes, and the gowns she saw to neighbors to save for a rusty white sedan, no hubcaps, no air conditioning, sweating all the way through our first vacation to Florida theme parks to love a country, as if you've lost one, as if it were you on a plane departing from America forever. Clouds closing like curtains on your country, the last scene in which you're a madman scribbling the names of your favorite flowers, trees, and birds you'd never see again. Your address and phone number you'd never use again. The color of your father's eyes and your mother's hair, terrified you could somehow, someday, forget these. To love a country, as if I was my mother last spring, hobbling, insisting I help her climb all the way up to the U.S. Capitol, as if she were here before you today instead of me, explaining her tears, her cheeks pink as the cherry blossoms coloring the air that day, when she stopped, turned to me, and said, "You know, Mio, it isn't where you're born that matters. It's where you choose to die. That's your country."
Thank you, Richard. He has been a great friend to our school over the years. He has actually spoken at convocation before and spoken with guests that we have had to our campus, and he has always been wonderful to accommodate our school when we request, and we are so honored to have had him here earlier today. As you may or may not know, this is an incredibly busy week. Our 10th grade is off for their Washington, D.C. for Democracy program. They are traveling this entire week, and so we wish them well. They left earlier today. We also, just as a reminder, we have our Round Square International Conference, which will happen next fall in Kenya. And that conference is open to rising 10th, 11th, and 12th grade students. So be on the lookout for that, and we remind you to let your student, let your child know if they're interested. Please contact Mr. Reynolds. Please also don't forget, this is a very special week. Thursday is a dress uniform day, and we will have our Easter and Passover chapels. Friday is Good Friday. School is closed. We are also closed next Monday, and don't forget, Tuesday is our headmaster's holiday. So we are closed Friday, Monday, Tuesday. We return next Wednesday, April 12th. Have a wonderful week. Thank you again to Mr. Blanco, especially for today. And as always, go Falcons.